right, so what's up, everyone?
What's up?
Cries Hannah here. um, Matt and Trey. So we thought it'd be pretty cool to get together and kind of share with you all what where we've been, what brought us back together, and then kind of talk about what we hope you guys get from the music and what we hope to share. So I guess I'll kind of toss it over to you, Trey, and let you kind of share a
What's
little bit
up?
about what you've been doing, where you've been over the last 13 years. You fell off the map, you went to
Yeah,
Memphis or something. What happened?
yeah. So after that last show, and we all stumbled out the back door and went our separate ways. What happened, right? Well, I went to work for a carpenter, uh, and I've been doing carpentry ever since. I also started back to school, and I've been in school ever since. Um, hopefully, hopefully finishing that pretty soon. Got married in 2012, moved down to Memphis a little bit before that. We've got three kids, four, two, and one, and so yeah, that's pretty much the big the big points, I guess.
Yeah. So,
What about you, man?
yeah. So similar in a lot of ways, and then there's differences, obviously. So, after that last show, because like we did this like last like leg of tours. Do you remember that where we were like, I think we played like where we play Piedmont, the Piedmont show, and then we go to like Dexter, and we did this last big one at the Well. Do you remember that?
Yeah, and I think we had one or two kind of
Like yeah, like one-off sort of things. But
yeah,
there was one at a church that I think since the fall,
yeah,
since the fall
yeah.
had
That's the last one I remember.
yeah. So that's the very last one, and I was dating who would become my future wife at that point. And
Hmm.
that's like the only one that we were dating that we played. We were broke up, but for some reason played this one last show. Anyway, so after that, it for me it was marriage and then basic training. Went to join the military, National Guard. My wife joined also, and we kind of did that, went through that together,
Mhm.
and then started school. Man, kind of like what you were saying, work in school. There's work full time, school in the background.
You went overseas
Um,
for a little bit, right?
yeah, so yeah, around 2013, got deployed to Afghanistan. Finished my degree actually while I was in Afghanistan, which was kind of cool. Came home and walked, and then went on and pursued a master's degree, kind of like what you're in now. Because my goal professionally was to be a counselor, and so long road, but ended up meeting that goal, and along the way, kind of like where you're at, three kids, four, 2 and 8 months. So
We're basically exactly the same.
pretty close,
Yeah,
and so I do remember like we some for some reason connected at some point right around I think our first kid because they were like within a month apart. I don't know if you
yeah,
remember that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and so yeah, it's been a wild ride. I think we both are in that sort of entrepreneur world on the professional side, somehow managing life with three kids and trying to manage a house and things like that. So it's been pretty fun and crazy at times. But out of the military now, spent 12 years in. My wife's still in. She's fighting the good fight, and I'm taking care of the kids at home. So yeah,
Stay
that's
home dad, right?
yeah. Well, when she's gone.
So
so it's so it's
go
been
ahead.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was going to say, so explain then how and why after, I guess, did you say 13 years? I don't even remember exactly how long. How are we doing this? Why are we even playing music? What's the point? Isn't this just a dumb idea? Aren't we um, just a couple of old dads now with jobs? And um, how did we reconnect even? Because we haven't really spoken really that much at all over the past, 13 years. So how did that all come about?
Yeah, so that's a good
Because
question.
I just got a text message out of the blue, basically. And so, what led up to that?
So yeah, no, there's a story there for sure. So first of all, um, I think it probably starts with what happened after we dissipated as a band, right? So like band broke up. We played this like weird one last show somewhere in a church in Poplar Bluff. And then we pretty much, at least I know in terms of you and we had a couple conversations. I know, I remember one specifically after I got back from basic training. I remember eating with you and Matt Boyd at Steak and Shake. I don't know if you remember that, but I came
Well,
home. I
did a
met
lot
with
of
you
that.
guys. I met with you guys at Steak and Shake probably around, it would have been 2010. Um, and then I remember one other time, just talking to you on the phone real quick, real brief. And then really not much of anything until the pandemic hit. And
Mm,
so this weird like worldwide phenomenon happens where this pandemic, sort of engulfs every aspect of our lives. And I got a Facebook message, I believe, from Morgan. Shout out to Morgan.
what's up, Morgan?
Probably the number one Cries Hannah supporter. Um, and she said something. It was something along the lines of, "Hey, you guys should get back together. You guys should play a show or something of that nature." I think
Mm.
she'd been talking to Matt Boyd, and then I get a text from Boyd, and
He said, "Here we go."
he did. He sort of linked this whole thing together,
Yep.
and it started the text thread. And
Mm.
I do know that over that course of 12 or 13 years, there were various times where we would all three have texting conversations together and apart. And I think you were the most apprehensive because it was always like, we got to get back together for like a show. We need a reunion show. And that was always a very daunting task because I think for all of us, and I think we both feel the same way about this, that that would have to be done so right and have so much effort and time put into it
For sure.
that we just didn't have the time and effort to give. Not that we don't want to. We would. I speaking personally, I'd love to be able to have that experience again. And at the same time, just with three kids, owning a business, we're all geographically just in different
Mhm.
location. It's
Yeah.
just impossible. And then gear, like
States.
it's just too hard. And at that time, I think Matt Boyd was still in Seattle,
Yeah.
so trying to figure that out.
Actually getting together and playing music at all, even to practice, it was just literally impossible.
Impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't something that was even feasible.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, but there was something that was different in 2020 versus the years prior. And that was that we had the opportunity to record high quality recordings at home by virtue of a plug-in and having an interface, and you already owned a guitar. So I remember, um, it's funny because today, all right, we got a text from Matt Boyd about Furnace Fest
Yeah.
because a year ago he was talking about, hey, in like a year we should play Furnace Fest when the world gets back to normal. And here it is, like it's actually going to happen, Furnace Fest. Not us playing there, but he's always on the cusp of, you know, he's on the pulse of what's going to happen. Boyd,
Mm,
you know. So anyway,
that's
I
our dog.
yes, I mean, he's visionary, and so like very much so. A lot of those early conversations, like, hey, what if we got back together? Hey, what if we did this? Hey, what if we did that? And then it actually became more real because we were like, well, hey, what if we just had fun playing and jamming together? But you know, we don't have to meet every night, and it's just whenever we get together and just having fun, and it's just like writing music that we actually like, you know.
Mm.
And you know, that I remember that first Zoom call that we were all able to get together on. I think it was in June of 2020, and just talking about like what do you really see here? What are the options? Like how could this work? And I remember sharing some music with you guys and letting you guys see what was possible, at least from like a creation standpoint. And I think it kind of started from there. It was really a piece where okay, so we can actually write and create music and bounce ideas back and forth, um, with no pressure. You know, like we don't have a show next week that we have to get ready for. This could have like we could actually work on this for years if we need to or want to. And so I think that was a big allure.
So basically, like kind of sum that up. So kind of Morgan messaging, Matt Boyd taking the initiative, reaching out, connecting all these dots, the pandemic kind of forcing us into um,
Slow down.
slow down. Yeah. And kind of maybe for the first time getting together and talking about music, but in a way that doesn't involve like, okay, we're going to have to go out on the road for extended periods of time. We're not going to have to leave our families. We're not going to have to worry about like, what are we going to do for money? Because being on the road is not a good way to make money.
No.
And so we figured out a way, okay, we could play music and we could do it in a way that's not going to remove us from our current busy schedules. Um, and so let's write some stuff, send it back and forth, and see how it goes. Right?
Yeah, so exactly. And knowing that it didn't put our families at risk
Yeah.
took the pressure off.
Yeah, man, huge. That I know personally, that's been a big deal for me. Anytime, because it's not just me, you, and Boyd. We have other band members, that we former band members that we love, and just good friends and who have mentioned over the years, like, hey, let's get together, let's do this or that. But it's always been like, man, I can't do that. I can't leave. I can't commit to going somewhere or going on the road, or the time investment. So figuring out a way to uh, play music without having to compromise, like you said, our family. That's been the biggest deal for me.
100%. I mean, when and here we are, we're in our mid 30s. So probably most of anyone that cares anything about us are getting close to that age, like you probably have an idea what family means to you at this point, if you have kids of your own. And so it's just less about you. And so this was a way to be able to sort of scratch that itch of like, I want to create. Like creating music is where I feel alive. That's what brings something out in me that I'm unable to truly express in a way that gives it justice. And so having that opportunity to share passion just with each other again. And you know, the other thing that I missed, truly missed, in a way that is also difficult to express, like just with words, is my relationship with you, because you for so long, I mean, dude, you and I were together like all the time for about 5 years. I mean, we didn't leave each other's side. And so,
Slept in the same bed for a bit of that.
yeah, for a long bit of that, you
Yeah.
know, and quite literally. And um,
We
it,
were our first loves.
we were,
Yeah.
um, and so rekindling that friendship and the passion together to create. And you know, I know you and I both like, because one of the cool things, and we'll get to that I'm sure in some of these later videos, is that instead of it being how it was, where it was like, hey Trey, go write a guitar riff, hey Matt, go write some lyrics, hey, hey, do this, do, you know, do your thing, don't infringe upon my thing. um this whole process has been so collaborative, which
Mm.
was a breath of complete just fresh air. It's just a
Yeah.
completely different thing. And something that brought out just like, because hearing the riffs that you wrote, it made me want to write something like that could even, like, oh what, man, he wrote that riff. Like, I'm gonna have to do something like really incredible to be able to even meet like what that riff means to what I'm to me as I'm hearing it, you know. So um and similarly, you know, it wasn't just it, you know, you wrote a lot of these lyrics too. It wasn't just me. You wrote a lot of these melodies that you're going to hear on the record. um and they're catchy and they stick in your head, like you just, they're awesome. And so for me, you know, you'd send me this melody and I'd be like, man, I'm gonna have to sing that. Like, I'm gonna have to work at that, like, because it sounds, I hear what you're saying, you know, I hear what you're singing, I hear where that vision is, but now I have to do it justice. And so like it's been so fun having it be so collaborative.
Mm.
um that's been
Agreed.
the most awesome part.
Agreed, man. And I mean, I can say all that stuff the same back, man, regarding the lyrics and the melodies that you've been writing. And I'm not sure if anybody ever really knew this or whatever, but your guitar playing, man, like you've written a ton of these riffs and they're just killer, man. I love it. And so gets me pumped.
Yeah, dude, like I'm excited to share what we've written and what we've built here with everyone who wants to listen. And so yeah, no, it's been a journey.
Yeah.
It's been an exciting journey. And you really, if we break it down, Morgan and Matt Boyd, you are the reason that this thing's coming out. And so thank you for doing, because this, it's not easy to send that first text or to send that message to someone that you don't really talk to very much. Thank you for doing it and having the courage.
Yeah. So that's kind of what we've been doing. That's kind of what brought us back together. So see you in the next video.
See you guys.